إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره نعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتدي أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. يعني I love to come to this masjid for the brothers, for the mic, and now for the chair. And it can work as a bit too. Now I know when I have a fight with my wife, where to go, huh? Tonight we gather here, inshallah, for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the occasion of Aqiqah of Anas bin Umar, brother Umar. His child was born a couple of weeks ago. So inshallah, Ihya'an lis-Sunnah and reviving the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make his child righteous, to make our kids righteous as well. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant his parents the righteousness and the adab and the manners of the son and everything good that comes out of him, and to protect them from any bad that might come out of him. كما علمنا حسن البصري رحمه الله كما قال بورك في الموهوب وشكرت الواهب وبلغ أشده ورزقت بره وجعل خيرا على أمة محمد. So we ask Allah that this child to be good omen and good news for the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the children of the Muslims. Wallahi, يعني I thought what to talk to you about, and I said we talk some tafsir tonight, but tafsir from different angle. What the أهل الاختصاص and أهل العلم call تفسير تحليلي, يعني critical تفسير, rather than translating the words and explaining the meanings. But we're gonna dive a little deeper to extract the lessons and deduce the hikam and the wisdom from the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't know how much we can cover tonight, and I don't know how many juz' we can go over tonight, but I'm not very optimistic yet that we can go so much. But perhaps what we can go over is sufficient to let each one of us leave tonight with something on his mind or in her mind. So I picked, driving here, I thought maybe the story of Musa alayhi salam with Al-Khadr is a story that carries a lot of hikam and a lot of meanings that a lot of us, perhaps some of us, read this surah every Friday and never take the time to reflect. This story mentioned in Surah Kahf. والكهف surah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam when the kuffar of Quraysh, the kuffar of Mecca, came to the Jews And they said to them, أنتم أهل كتاب. يعني, you have a book. Allah revealed to you a book. So you know the stories and you know knowledge. You have knowledge. So we want you to tell us. Look how always the kuffar plot together. Even though the Jews, يعني everyone to them is kafir. Just like for us, everyone is kafir who's not Muslim. To them, they are supposedly calling for worshipping God, the Jews. And the kuffar of Mecca worship idols beside Allah. But when it became to go against the truth, and that is what Muhammad came with, they both became one party. Khalas. One party, there is no second. Millatul kufri wahida. The religion of kufr is one. تعددت الأسباب والموت واحد. Called Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, radicalism, terrorism, whatever they want to call it. Communism. It's all one. Kufr. If it's not Quran and Sunnah, kufr. And don't be scared to say that. Because that's what they say too. That's what the Jews say, and that's what the Christians say, and that's what the Hindus say, and that's what the Buddhists say. So why the Muslim is the one who's scared, even though he has the truth? Because he had gone away from what gives him honor. And that is Quran and Sunnah. So say it with full mouth and with full conviction, and you will not be wrong, inshallah. Inna ad-deena 'inda Allah al-Islam. وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا ادْخُلُوا فِي السِّلْمِ كَافَةً. لقد كفر الذين قالوا إن الله ثالث ثلاثة. لقد كفر الذين قالوا إن الله هو المسيح ابن مريم. فما بال أقوام, when they're asked about the kufr of the kuffar, they start. And Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said, من شك في كفر الكافر فهو كافر. قاعدة. Who has a doubt of the kufr of the kafir is kafir. So be aware. Someone أنت على يقين, and you are sure. Because of what he's telling you, he's saying, I believe that Jesus is God. You have no right to think or to doubt that he's kafir. It doesn't matter how much love he showed to the deen of Islam. It doesn't matter how much he showed solidarity with the religion of Islam. He says Jesus is God, kafir. So for you to doubt, wallahi, he's a nice guy. Now I'm not telling you go and tell him you're kafir or you're in hellfire or you're just... It's not about hukm shari. Telling him you're kafir and you're in hell and if you die like this will not get you anywhere. Drive him away from you. But what we are saying, we're talking about laws, ahkam, qawad, rules. Someone who says, you see, I'm saying someone, I'm leaving it general. I'm not saying Mike, and I'm not saying Walter, and I'm not saying Christopher, I'm not saying Bush, I'm not saying any name. Alright? I'm saying in general. Anyone who says Jesus is my God, kafir. So if you were to doubt someone who says Jesus is my God, to think, let me think if he's kafir or not. He's a nice guy. You're in danger of being in kufr. Allah has ruled from 7 heavens, over 7 heavens, that he's kafir. What your thought matters. So be aware. So the point I'm making is the Jews and the kuffar, the polytheists, those who worship many gods, became one. That doesn't mean, doesn't work, doesn't make sense. But when it comes to the truth, all the kuffar will become one. يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في الحديث الصحيح صححه الشيخ الألباني يوشك أن تداعى عليكم الأمم كما تداعى الأكلة إلى قصر. خلاص. He said, nations are about to all gather together around you and against you, the way that group of people will gather around their feast. خلاص. Those people are not agreeing in every principle. Some of them might be believing in the opposite of what the others believe. Some of them might be capitalist and the others are communist and socialist. Some of them might be Christians and Jews and the others are Hindus and Buddhists and Taoists and this and atheists and بقر كثير هذه الأيام. But when it comes against the religion of Allah, they're all one, on one heart, and they fight, and their word, a word of one man. يعني just recently, 2-3 weeks ago, the French Parliament voted against the niqab. 360 some or more voted against the niqab, one voted for it, or did not even vote, I don't know. But except one, all of them voted to ban the niqab. I don't think there is anything else, if it has nothing to do with Islam, you will find this majority. Or this, I can say it's consensus. Just in the United Nations, when they vote, usually this is the fact when it comes to the Muslims. The only people who vote against something against the Muslims are the poor Muslims. That their vote doesn't make any difference. When veto is raised, done. Doesn't matter, even if the whole world. So when the Jews and the kuffar, the polytheists, the mushrikeen came to the Jews, they said, tell us about things that we can test Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Things that we can ask him, that if he is not a prophet, he won't be able to. They said, ask him about 3 things. About youngsters who left their people and ran away, those Ahl al-Kahf. Ask him about al-Ruh, soul. And ask him about who? Dhul Qarnayn. Those are the 3 things. Ask him about Ashab al-Kahf, the youngsters who ran to the cave. Ask him about al-Ruh, and ask him about Dhul Qarnayn. طيب, why Musa's story is coming in? Now there are too many things we can talk about before the story of Musa, from the first word in the surah until the last. But I chose this because human nature tends to love stories. You are very cute people, so I'm going to give you a story. Musa alayhi salam was sent to Bani Israel, the Jews. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when they came to ask him the question, he said, I shall tell you tomorrow. But he sallallahu alayhi wasallam, out of confidence in Allah, forgot to say insha'Allah. فتوقف عنه الوحي 15 ليلة. Would not receive a revelation. The answer. ولا تقولن لشيء إني فاعل ذلك غدا إلا أن يشاء الله. Don't say to anything, I'll do that tomorrow. Without saying inshallah. So they started mocking him. Every day, where are the answers? If you look, if I want to talk about that, just about this aspect, you can see how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised. يعني the delay of the revelation and the answers. شوف هنا مش سخن حاضر. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised the status of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam because of this. Because it's a clear indication that the Messenger does not make up his own stuff. Why would he wait 15 days? If the deen was coming from him, if he was making it up, why would he wait 15 days and put suspicion in the hearts of the people? That's one. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so now the Jews started questioning the authenticity of the Prophet, even though they know he's the truth. But now they have a reason. He can't answer. If he had connection with the Mala' al-A'la, he would know the answers. Allah would tell him. So they started questioning him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, at the end, Allah reveals to him the answers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a result, pay attention, wants to teach Bani Israel a lesson. So he's telling them, here is your prophet, Musa alayhi salam, that you claim he's your prophet and he knew everything, needed a human being like Al-Khadr, who was in al-asah min aqwal ahli al-ilm annahu lam yakun nabi walakin kana rajulan salihan. Here is a non-prophet man, Al-Khadr, righteous man, teaches your prophet. Understand? ما فهمت لسه؟ طيب ترجم. The Jews say Musa our prophet, he knew everything. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals this story about Musa to show them that no, he doesn't know everything, that he needed to go in the company of Al-Khadr to learn from him. And Al-Khadr is not a prophet. So don't accuse Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam because he did not answer you immediately. So if you're going to say that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't know at least for 15 days, your prophet Musa alayhi salam had to travel so far to learn from a man. You see, the ilm of Al-Khadr is not wahi. It's ilmun ladunni. العلم اللدني وَأَتَيْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. العلم اللدني is the ilm and the knowledge that is given to a human being or to a person without wahy, without without angel, straight from Allah. Allah inspired him this ilm. That is al-ilm that Al-Khadr had. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching Bani Israel, don't accuse Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam because your prophet didn't know what Al-Khadr knew. Yes, Al-Khadr didn't know what Musa alayhi salam knew, but also Musa didn't know all of the knowledge of Al-Khadr. So if you're going to use this against Muhammad, use it against your prophet. Alright. So that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the story of Musa alayhi salam in Surah Al-Kahf. Even though they were not, the Prophet was not asked about that. So humble yourself, he's telling them. Let's go with the story inshallah. Told you. وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِفَتَاهُ لَا أَبْرَحُ حَتَّى أَبْلُغَ مَجْمَعَ الْبَحْرَيْنِ أَوْ أَمْضِيَ حُقُوبًا. Musa alayhi salam was asked, hadith, who knows the most? Who's the most knowledgeable? He said, me. And usually لا ينبغي لأحد أن يعرف أكثر من النبي. هو نبي. السلام عليكم. هو prophet, Rasul. He thought he's the most knowledgeable. وكان عليه أن ينسب العلم إلى الله. He was supposed to, when he's asked most knowledgeable, he should have said Allah. But of course his answer is not, and we make justification for the Prophet. Of course his answer wasn't most knowledgeable, he understood of all. He understood maybe who's most knowledgeable amongst the people. And he's the Prophet on earth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to teach Musa alayhi salam something. So he told him about Al-Khadr. He said, there is someone who knows more than you, or who knows what you don't know. So Musa alayhi salam, and that is the interest in learning. That's the desire and the shahwa. You see the way you desire food, the way you would desire fruits, the way you would desire certain kinds of material things of this world, should be no comparison in the desiring of al-ilm. Al-ilm. Because every material brings you down, al-ilm takes you up. So you should be in more feelings of desire for al-ilm. And if you read the nahma and the desires and the shahwa in fulfilling al-ilm and learning of the ahl al-ilm and the ulama and the best of the generations of the ummah, you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed how much they were willing to sacrifice to learn. Their time, their money, and their effort. Imam al-Bukhari, his father, leaves him 100,000 dinar. That is millionaire. 100,000 dinar. Dinar is out of gold. His father tells him, I don't think there is one dinar in it haram. Halal. Wholesome. He spends it all in talab al-ilm, in seeking knowledge. They spend their lives in learning. And I can never forget, and I'll try to remember the names, when Shu'bah ibn al-Hajjaj, rahimahullah, Imam Ahl al-Hadith, the Shu'bah ibn al-Hajjaj, not al-Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. Because people hear same names, that's it. La. Shu'bah ibn al-Hajjaj, one of the greatest ulama of al-Hadith. And he was so strict with al-Hadith, Hadith al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He will reject the Hadith for the smallest issue. أظن it was him that if he would see someone, he will go to narrate from someone, and he see him on a horse. And the horse is running, and when you're on the back of a horse, you will be jumping up and down. He will leave his hadith. He says this is a person doesn't have elegance. خوارم المروءة. Or someone who walks without covering his head. Man. Of course, that was so strict that a lot of the hadith he considered weak because of this. The ulama have considered sahih, and that is the correct. So Shu'bah ibn al-Hajjaj walking out of his house, and he hears Nasr ibn Hammad narrating a hadith. قال حدثنا إسرائيل عن السبيعي عن عبد الله بن عطاء عن عقبة بن عامر عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إنه قال. And then he mentioned the hadith, and you all know the hadith. Whoever makes wudu and say the dua, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله, that hadith, then will enter al-Jannah from any door he wants. فلطمه شعبة. He went and he slapped Nasr ibn Hammad. Slapped him right in the face. And then he went back. He said, how can you narrate a hadith like that? Because for him, the sanad sounded fishy. And very, as I said, strict in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and could not tolerate someone to lie about the Prophet ﷺ. So he slaps him and he goes back into his house. He comes out and he had one of his companions, Abdullah ibn Idris, and he finds Nasr ibn Hammad still crying. فيقول له لعبد الله انظر إلى هذا ما زال يبكي. يعني ما عنده رحمة. He said, look at this guy, he's still crying. So Abdullah ibn Idris tells him, you slapped him, what you want him to do? This is a man, you just slapped him. Yani you humiliated him. You want him to be laughing? Another one of Ahl al-Ilm and one of the ulama of al-Hadith said, or actually أبو إسحاق السبيعي يعني إسرائيل يروي عن أبي إسحاق السبيعي قال سمعت نصر بن حماد said I heard from إسرائيل عن أبي إسحاق السبيعي is the grandfather of إسرائيل بن إسحاق and شعبة بن الحجاج in الكوفة, just to show you how much يعني how much they're willing to sacrifice for the deen of Allah. He said, go to Abu Ishaq al-Sibi'i and ask him about the hadith that he reports. That's it, you solve your problem. Abu Ishaq هذا كان مدلس, يعني he used to not give the hadith exactly the way it should. So he went to Abu Ishaq and asked him about the hadith al-wudu. فلم يجب. Abu Ishaq refused to answer. He knows Shu'bah. He refused to answer. خلاص, when someone refuses to answer, you know there's something wrong. فألح عليه. He started pushing him, give me. How did you hear it? Where did you hear it? Obviously you did not hear it from Ata. This and this. So he refused. One of the ulama of al-hadith who was present there, ظن اسمه مسعر, he said to Shu'bah, عليك لقد ألححت على الشيخ, يعني you have bothered him. Abu Ishaq, he tells Shu'bah, you want to know the hadith, why you ask Abu Ishaq? Go to Abdullah ibn Ata, he's still alive, go to him. Now we're talking about Kufa, يعني العراق. May Allah free العراق. So Shu'bah ibn al-Hajjaj get his stuff packed, gets on his mule or his donkey, and he started heading to Mecca. كان زمن حج. It was time for Hajj. So he started heading to Mecca because Abdullah ibn Ata Mekki. So he goes, where is Abdullah? He reached Mecca. And imagine how fast a donkey can run. Days and days take. All this for one hadith. So he started heading to Mecca. Where is Abdullah ibn Ata? They tell him where Abdullah ibn Ata is. He enters his place. Abdullah ibn Ata, Assalamu alaikum, did you report this hadith? He said, yes. Did you tell this hadith to Abu Ishaq al-Sibi'? Yes. قال أنت رويته عن عبد الله بن عطاء؟ قال لا. قال عن من؟ قال عن سعد بن إبراهيم. So you see now what's missing? So now you're seeing people falling off the Senate, because the Senate, the higher the Senate, meaning less intermediates between the narrator and the Prophet ﷺ. That gives more honor. And if I say, I heard from so-and-so, who told me about so-and-so, that the king said, rather is better than if I mention 10 people and the king said. When you see 10 people, there's a chance that someone changed something rather than just 2 people. So they used to drop some narrators. So Abdullah ibn Ata said, لا, and I didn't report this straight from Uqba ibn Amir. حدثني به سعد بن إبراهيم. سعد بن إبراهيم مدني من المدينة. But when you go from Iraq, from Al-Kufa to Mecca, which direction you take? South? يعني southwest. Is it closer المدينة العراق or مكة العراق? Medina. So Shu'bah didn't want to make Hajj. He just went to look for Abdullah bin Ata. He could have stopped by Medina and saved himself and rested his donkey. No. So he looks for Sa'd ibn Ibrahim. Hajj season, most probably he came here. So he finds Imam Malik. He tells him, where is Imam Malik? From Medina. Where is Sa'd ibn Ibrahim? He said, لم يحج السنة. يعني he stayed in Medina. So he picks his stuff, Shu'bah, and start heading to Medina. Until he comes to Sa'd ibn Ibrahim. Sa'd ibn Ibrahim, بغيتي, looking for you. Did you hear this hadith from Uqba ibn Amir? Uqba is Sahab. Did you report it? Yes. You reported from Uqba ibn Amir? قال لا. هو قال من عندكم, خرج من عندكم, من الكوفة, من زياد بن مخراق. يعني the chain had زياد بن مخراق who was in كوفة. فقال شعبة هذا حديث لا يصح, أوله كوفي ثم مكي ثم مدني ثم كوفي. Because people who narrate the hadith, most of the time they are from the same place, because they sit to each other and they listen. But he still has hope that this hadith can be good. So he started heading back to Kufa. فيدخل على زياد بن مخراق. أنت يعني reported the hadith from عقبة بن عامر. فقال زياد بن مخراق إليك عني. Leave me alone. Why? Because he knows if he would tell him the next name for Shu'bah, the hadith is weak, rejected. So he tells him there is no point to tell you. قال والله لتخبرنني. He swears that you should tell me. He said, leave me alone. It's not, يعني لن ينفعك. It's not going to help you. قال لا, you have to tell. قال له حدثني به شهر بن حوشب. قال لا إله إلا الله. That's it. لطم على رأسه وقال لو صح هذا الحديث لكان أحب إلي من أهلي ومالي والدنيا. He slapped his head and he said, if this hadith would have been authentic, it would have been more beloved to me than myself and my wealth and my family and the dunya. One hadith travel from Iraq to Mecca, then to Medina, then back to Kufa, to Iraq, for one hadith. And at the end it came out to be weak. This hadith is sahih, the sanad, the matn, but from different narration, the tariq Abi Hurairah, Sahih Muslim. But you see how much someone is willing to give for al-ilm. Shahwa. This is when you have the desire for knowledge. And they did not give up. And they did not say, Allah, today, with one click, you see how much he had to walk his donkey for one hadith? Today, it's like this. You see my finger? Like this. You get 1,000 hadith. And we don't do it. One click, you get 1,000 hadith. You get 100,000 hadith. Hundreds of thousands of hadith. One click. And we don't do it. And some people say, why? This teacher is tough. This teacher is hard. This teacher picks on me. This uses right and left just to make himself feel better about himself, so he doesn't have to work and do anything. بل الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة. Everyone knows himself, the reality. يعني Ibn Hibban, one of the ulama of al-hadith, his teacher, his sheikh that he used to take hadith from, Ibn Khuzaymah, famous, Muhammad ibn Ismail. He used to follow him everywhere and write. Follow him with the books and write. Right, anything his sheikh says, he will write. So one day, Ibn Khuzaymah was having a difficult day. Hard day, he didn't want to talk to anyone. And this Ibn Hibban stuck to him, following him everywhere, Ibn Hibban. So they reach a wall or a corner. So Ibn Khuzaymah grabs Ibn Hibban and he puts him in a corner. He said, "Li ilayka anni ya barid." يعني تنحى عني يا بارد. You know what بارد means? يعني دمه ثقيل. يعني بارد يعني cold. يعني you see me in a bad mood and you're running after me, you just want to take علم from me, you want to take whatever. تنحى عني يا بارد. Get away from me. Cold. No emotions. فابن حبان looked at his book and he wrote تنحى عني يا بارد. فلما سئل لما كتبتها قال لعلها تنفعني يوما. So when he was asked, why did you write it? يعني he's telling you, get away from me. He said, perhaps it will help me one day. And look what happened. We're telling this story to see how much they were dedicated for al-ilm. That's why Musa alayhi salam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to go meet al-Khadr, he takes his servant قيل يوشع ibn Nun, Nabi to Bani Israel, prophet. He takes him and they start marching toward the location. يقول لا أبرح حتى أبلغ مجمع البحرين. مجمع البحرين. Musa alayhi salam said, I will not stop. يعني don't tell me let's rest, don't tell me let's take a break, don't tell me. The rule is we're gonna keep marching and walking until we reach our destination, until I reach مجمع البحرين. The meeting was at مجمع البحرين, at the two bodies of water meeting, two seas, two oceans, two rivers, two water bodies, whatever you want to call it. مجمع البحرين. And the ulama have different opinions where this was, there and here and whatever. But if you look at مجمع البحرين, where Musa alayhi salam is to meet al-Khadr, Musa alayhi salam has ilm and knowledge that al-Khadr doesn't have, and al-Khadr has knowledge that Musa doesn't have. So you have the ilm and the بحر في علم, بحر علم موسى مع بحر علم الخضر اجتمعا عند مجمع البحر. So the way that they meet, where two waters meet, is where the two ilm will meet. The ilm of Musa, ilm al-wahy, and ilm of al-Khadr, al-ilm al-ladunni. As we said, al-ilm al-ladunni is al-ilm that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to one of his creation, one of his servants, without Jibreel. Because Jibreel, we know, the angel متخصص بالوحي. So he tells his servant, we will not stop until we get there. أو أمضي حقوق. الحقوق كم سنة؟ 83 سنة. 80 years at least. أقل الجمع في العربية إيه؟ 3. The least of plural in Arabic, in English plural 2 and over. In Arabic 3 and over and up. So حقبة يعني Musa is saying, we will not rest until we get there, or even if I have to keep walking at least 240 years, I will keep walking to get to meet this man that I will take some knowledge from. And that's to show you the importance of الصحبة في طلب العلم, to show you the importance of being in the company of أهل العلم. Because yes, you can learn from books, you can learn from recordings, you can learn from computers, you can learn from audio, but there is no comparison to that ilm when it's taken right from the ulama by associating yourself with أهل العلم. يعني كانوا يقولون عن الإمام مالك يعني كنا نأخذ من حلمه قبل علمه. We used to take out from his adab and his forbearance and his manners more than we used to take from his knowledge. So that shows you how much dedicated Musa alayhi salam is willing to go, how far he's willing to go to learn. Prophet of Allah, messenger of Allah. So give and sacrifice and make the effort, and don't be lazy. Don't be lazy. When it comes to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the knowledge that will save you in this life and in the hereafter will save you and save your family and your kids and your wife from hellfire, learn it. If we were to give as much effort and energy and dedication we give to our jobs, to the deen of Allah, we will be much better off, way better off. Today we give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the deen of Allah fadailu awqatina. We give Allah and the deen of Allah the extra of our time, the time that we got nothing else to do. No. Inna Allah tayyibun la yaqbal illa tayyib. Allah only wants good from you. Allah doesn't want the spare of your time. Allah doesn't want the trash of your time. And this is what Musa alayhi salam is teaching you. فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَجْمَعَ بَيْنِهِمَا نَسِيَا حُوتَهُمَا فَاتَّخَذَ سَبِيلَهُ فِي الْبَحْرِ سَرَبًا فَلَمَّا جَاوَزَ قَالَ لِفَتَاهُ آتِنَا غَدَاءَنَا لَقَدْ لَقِينَا مِنْ سَفَرِنَا هَذَا نَصَبًا قال أرأيت إذ أوينا إلى الصخرة فإني نسيت الحوت. Oh, there's food tonight? Inshallah, يعني the Quran is the food of al-arwah, the food of the spirits, and that's what we need. Think we're too fat, need to cut down. So inshallah, the last point I will just pick from this ayah. You know, they came to Majma' al-Bahrain. Of course, يعني Musa, when he said, I will not stop until I get there, يعني he will make the best of his effort and the most of his capability to reach. But a human being needs to rest, needs to sleep. That is beyond his control. So when they needed to do that, and as you know how the fish, cooked fish jumped and took its way in the sea, that we can talk about different time. But if you look here, Allah says نَسِيَا حُوتَهُمَا. Now who was in charge of the fish? Yusha, the servant. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says نَسِيَا حُوتَهُمَا. They, يعني both of them, Musa and Khadim, Fata, both of them, 5 minutes in. You want to pray first? They want to eat first? How many people want to eat first? How many people want to pray first? Ya salam. Brother, democracy. Inshallah, we'll eat. He's al-Amir, yani. You have to listen. But to finish with this point, they said نَسِيَا حُوتَهُمَا in a plural form. But it's the Yusha who forgot the hoot. He forgot the fish. And al-hoot, they used to call al-hoot, yani the fish, small fish, not al-hoot, yani the whale. But when the Fata remembered, when Musa asked for the food, alayhi salam, Al-Fata, Yusha ibn Nun, alayhi salam, said, Naseet. فَإِنِّي نَسِيتُ الْحُوتِ. You remember when we rested? That's where I forgot the hoot, forgot the fish. Why in the first one it was, Allah said in the plural form, نَسِيَا حُوتَهُمَا. But here it talks about Al-Fata addressing that he forgot. Has a reason. Nothing in the Quran without a reason. And this Quran will continue to be a source of knowledge until the day of judgment. Yani if you see the books written in the tafsir of Al-Quran and the meanings of Al-Quran and the lessons you get from the Quran and critical tafsir of Al-Quran, thousands of books. You say there is nothing else to get out of it. And every single period of time and every single generation you find Allah send people who extract more and more from His book. In the first one, نسي حوتهما. Musa alayhi salam, al-Amir, Musa alayhi salam in charge. Musa alayhi salam, the leader, and the leader and the imam and the person in charge is responsible about the behaviors of his ra'iyyah. So Musa alayhi salam responsible about checking before they left that spot to check with his fata, with Yusha. Do you have your clothes? Do you have the luggage? Do you have this? Do you have the food? Musa didn't do that alayhi salam. So when he did not do his job, his responsibility about asking, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Nasiya, they both forgot. Yani Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when they would go in a war, in a fight, he used to walk at the end, the tail of the arm, to make sure no one forgot something, no one dropped something, no one having hard time to get ready so he can help him. At the end, the tail of the arm. That is the job of the leader. You can do that. Do not put yourself in that position. So when Musa alayhi salam did not ask what he was supposed to ask, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said they both forgot, even though it was only Yusha. Got it? But when Al-Fata talked about the situation, he used the singular form because he held himself responsible. Inni nasitul hut. I forgot the fish. Clearly? That is how you learn from the Quran. And that is يعني بعض اللطائف and some of the reminders from the story of Musa alayhi salam with Al-Khadr in Surah Al-Kahf. And alhamdulillah we were able to cover almost 2 ayah. And that's how you read the Quran. And that's how you reflect. And that's how you ponder. And that's how you learn. Every single word. There is no letter in the Quran for no reason. Letter. بل حركة. بل vowel. So it takes some effort, takes some learning, takes some dedication, and you will get to see why and how someone like Shu'bah is willing to do that for one hadith. Someone like Ibn Hibban is willing to do that for one hadith. Imam Ahmad, I said this before, leaves from Baghdad to Yemen. He wants to get hadith from San'ani, Imam San'ani in Yemen. He passed by Mecca for Hajj. They tell him San'ani in Mecca making Hajj. Khalas. Saved us the trip to Yemen. La. He said, I left my home with the intention to go to Yemen for Allah, and I'm not changing my intention. He refused to take knowledge from San'ani in Mecca, and when Hajj was over, he went all the way down to Yemen to fulfill the reason he left his home for. Even though he was poor and he had to work and he had to sell, even he had to sell his jar. Yani they carried food in, he had to sell it so he can have some money to help him continue the trip. But he did not change his mind. فإنه يعلم أن الراجع في صدقته كالكلب يبلع قيئه. He knows that one who gives something and wants it back, يعني صدقة and he wants it back, like a dog swallowing back his vomit. So inshallah, the Muslims need to take and make some effort, and we need to dedicate ourselves and our kids for this, for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahi alladhi la ilaha illahu. There is no success and there is no happiness in this world without having connection with your Creator. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it clear in the Quran. ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب. Only by the remembrance of Allah. ألم يأن للذين آمنوا أن تخشع قلوبهم لذكر الله. Isn't it time for the hearts of the believers? Isn't it time for their hearts to come down and tranquil for the remembrance of Allah? Until when are we going to continue to be arrogant? And until when are we going to continue to refuse the truth? We see the world. What is it you're impressed with? Their capitalism? Trash. You see what's happening. Billionaires are committing suicide. Famous and figures and their elite and their most famous people and names killing themselves on drugs, alcoholic. They want to run away from reality. They want to run away from their miseries. They got the money and they got the fame and they got the support, but that is not, without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it doesn't mean anything. And that's what they don't understand. So be thankful and grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He put you in this religion. And be thankful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala picked you to be who you are. فَإِنَّ اللَّيْلَ tonight you are in this place, in a places where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-Malik, the King, Lillah, Rabb, Allah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, the merciful, the compassionate, you are in one of His house. You're a guest in His house. And there are millions and millions of people out there running after prostitutes and running after drugs and running after alcohol and thinking they are doing great things. And they're thinking that's what bring them happiness. And they are wrong. They drink, and next day they have the hangover, vomiting, and drowsy the whole day. What kind of happiness is that? كالأنعام بل هم أضل. So always remember this blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I think my 5 minutes are up. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.